There is one game we all play, and that game is called real life. Not everyone is good at it, but some of us are. Real life is an open world game with endless possibilities. And after all, only the uncultured spend their day-to-day life in just one country. So join me in my life of leisure as I explore the best games for the handheld around the world. I shot today's episode in Washington DC. However, I had to record a lot of the sound separately as I was in a constant war against bloody aeroplanes trying to compete for sound space. It must be so bloody loud and annoying living in the White House. I would hate to be the American president. Anyway, I have been trying hard to think of a handheld game I would associate with the American capital. So, after a little bit of minimal thinking, I made the link America, Guns, Gunstar Heroes. Yeah! Last month on this channel, when I was in Greece, I talked about Gunstar Heroes, which is easily one of the greatest run and gun shooter titles from any generation. Gunstar Heroes sets new standards for the genre and helped define the 16-bit generation with its incredible graphics, challenge and intense level of action. Not only did the game provide one of the most adaptable weapon systems around, it also boasted some amazing boss characters, terrific art style and technological brilliance. Gunstar Heroes at the time never fully caught on with the mainstream audiences and was buried beneath a flood of popular franchises. However, today, in the internet era, this is a game that has been so critically acclaimed, nearly everyone now has played this one. So, as I have mentioned before on this channel, everyone seems to have played Gunstar Heroes on the Mega Drive. However, not many people seem to have played the other games in the series. The last episode I made about this series was about the equally good but completely forgotten sequel, Gunstar Superheroes. If you are yet to hear about this game, I strongly suggest you watch the video I have made about it. Apart from Gunstar Superheroes, another handheld game many people are not aware of is the port of the original game for the Sega Game Gear. Gunstar Heroes was released on the Sega Game Gear in 1995. Exclusively in Japan, this game was ported over to the system 2 years after it was released on the Mega Drive. So, let's think about this for a minute. You have an ultra fast-paced 16-bit run and gun shooter game with incredible graphics and an intense level of action being ported to a portable 8-bit system. Can you really do that? Looking at other game series in which have done this in the past, what we often received was all kinds of terrible and no more than cheap cash-ins from developers and another way to rob you of your hard-earned money. So, was the Gunstar Heroes series now selling out too to try and grab more of those coins? With this one, I'm going to say the answer is no. This game is a very strong port of the original when you look at the Game Gear system limitations. The developers have actually reworked the game entirely to make it more suitable for the weaker system. To be fair, they have changed things so much you cannot really even look at the game as a straightforward port. It is more of a remix. The porting was not handled by Treasure themselves, but by an outside development house known as M2. The console's power could not be matched to that of the Mega Drive, so the game has been scaled down, stripped of multiplayer mode, and had several graphic effects removed. Certain stages have been removed, such as the Black Dice Maze, however new elements have been added instead. These new features include a jetpack level and a chance to drive one of the Walker robots from the 16-bit version. Playing the game, I have to say M2 have done a fantastic job of porting this game. Although obviously slightly more simplistic, it really does feel like you are playing a Gunstar Heroes game. If you stop and think for a minute what most games on the Game Boy look like on the Game Boy in 1995, then making this game itself is an insane feat. I am pretty sure if I had this game in its prime, then it would have been one of my favourite handheld games in my whole collection. Graphically, it looks similarish to its Mega Drive counterpart, and my only real complaint is the flicker and slowdown you sometimes get due to the amount of action in this game. Games with a lot going on in them are notorious for having these problems on 8-bit systems. Something else that can sometimes be a bit annoying is the difficulty level in this game. I found playing this game to be much more difficult than the Mega Drive counterpart. I found using the jetpack particularly frustrating sometimes. For example, trying to control the bloody thing and flying it up and down while simultaneously trying to defeat Sevenfalls was a bloody nightmare. Another interesting feature of the game is the music. Many of the classic tracks from the Mega Drive game are back, and it's great to hear the 8-bit renditions of the songs from the previous game. So, my summary for this one: although the game is not quite as good as its 16-bit counterpart, the game is an extremely impressive feat for an 8-bit handheld system game. The game is probably one of the best games in the entire Game Gear library, and this one is definitely worth checking out. Whether you want to play this game for the gameplay, the novelty of playing a Gunstar Heroes game on the Game Gear, or just want to look at the extremely impressive technical achievement with this one, I feel you will be fulfilled in any of these scenarios. So forget about your safety and respect for humanity and just go on a massive shooting spree. You Americans won't even need to go to a local school for this one. You can just pick up a Game Gear. I joke. Cheerio!